welcome to Spring 17. I'm Jillian Bruce, Admin Evangelist at Salesforce, and
I'm Leanne Templeman, also an Admin Evangelist here at Salesforce.
And we are here to share with you our favorite features for admins coming with the Spring 17 release. There are so many innovations in the release. As we all know, those release notes are pretty big. So even though you're going to spend all that time highlighting and going through, we figured we'd take a few minutes to help you figure out which features you'd like to share with your end users and you want to focus on first as an admin to make your job easier. So the first bucket that we're going to talk about is features that are going to make your end users love you and love using Salesforce, because as admins, we know that end users are our number one customer. Our job is to make their lives easier, to help them do their jobs faster, and to make them more successful. So we're going to show you some features that you can actually directly take this demo that Leanne has created, take it yourself back to your end users, and show them exactly how to use these new features in Spring 17. The first feature we're going to talk about is chatter streams. Chatter streams are really cool, Leanne.
Yeah, I love chatter streams. If you're a user of Twitter lists, if you're a heavy chatter user, chatter streams are a great way for your users across the organization to make curated lists of different types of items to follow and get to them right from their chatter homepage.
Yeah, it's a way for you to select what information that you want to listen in most closely and organize it by that. Now, another great feature you're going to want to show your end users, and this may not sound so exciting maybe when you're reading the release notes, but we especially know as admins, we are probably the ultimate power user, and list views are so important to us. Now with Spring 17, you can actually set a default list view, and you can do mass and inline edits in the list view, which is really powerful.
Right. So in Spring, for a lot of us, when we're navigating around Salesforce and clicking on different tabs, we then have to go find the list view we want to look at. But now your users can automatically be directed back to the list view that they were most recently viewing, and they can edit from that list view without leaving the screen.
Saving a lot of time and clicks. Now, the next thing is super exciting, Leanne, because it's probably my favorite visual thing to see is we all love Kanban. We loved Kanban when we first saw it, but we weren't able to use it on everything. Now we've got Kanban for over 14 standard objects and custom objects. So now you can Kanban all the things.
Exactly, and you weren't the only one who loved Kanban. Our end users loved Kanban. Sales users love Kanban. Everyone across different organizations really enjoyed that drag and drop interface and that ability to visualize your information by that field value. And so now we've brought Kanban to standard objects as well as custom objects you may have built for your apps.
And that's not all. One of our favorite features that we have in Spring 17 is favorites. We now have favorites. On every page, we now have a star that your users can actually select which pages they want to go back to as their favorites. Have all their most relevant information right there in that favorites drop-down. Really a way for them to customize that experience for themselves.
Exactly, and you said it best. Your users are customizing the experience for themselves. So with chatter streams, with favorites, with creating different Kanban boards, your users can really define their experience in Salesforce and get to everything they need in a really productive and efficient way.
Speaking of getting into everything they need, we also have amazing new search functionality. So now we can use search a lot of the same ways that we use search on maybe some other platforms in Salesforce to make that search experience so much easier and more directed. But enough talking about all these features. Leanne,
let's get to the demo.
It's an awesome admin presentation. We got to show them how to do that. Now, as Leanne gets into the demo, remember, all of these click paths are actually shared right now on admin.salesforce.com. That means you can take this exact demo, show it in your own pre-release org to your end users and to your organization. That really helps you become the ambassador for Salesforce and the ambassador for change, especially with Spring 17.
Exactly. I mean, this is the tools you need to show cool new features to your end users, and you don't even have to write a demo on your own.
Nope.
You can go ahead and take this and modify it if you want, or use it as we shared it, and
straight from the demo master.
Show that your favorite Spring 17. Yeah, you might want to add some fun Spring 17 features of your own that you think your users will like. So let's get into it. So the first thing we talked about was chatter, the new experiences coming to chatter in Spring 17. And we have our new chatter home here. And the first thing I want to highlight is company highlights. See what I did there?
Ooh.
So with company highlights, you have a chatter list that's created for you that bubbles up information that's most relevant, kind of most popular updates in your company, so that even if you're not following something, if everyone else is sharing it and talking about it, you'll still see it on your feed.
So you won't miss anything important.
Exactly. Now the next feature I want to show is My Top Accounts. I have a feeling this is a feature those of you, especially that have sales users, will really enjoy, because this means that your users can create a stream for themselves that's looking at maybe their top opportunities, maybe their spring prospecting list, and they can see updates in one place for those records. And we have a stream that we've created called My Top Accounts, but you can create new streams, you can edit streams, and this is something that end users who use Chatter, I think, will really, really enjoy working with.
It's really a way for them to curate the information that's most important to them so they can see that first.
Exactly. And you can go through and edit and delete as well. And these are personal. So these would be personal to your individual users. So that's why you would see, probably some popular streams would be like my top opportunities or my prospecting accounts, things that are really specific to that user. So Jillian, you mentioned the new list behavior or the new tab behavior for list views. So when I clicked on contacts.
Wait a second. That already went to a list view that you like versus
no, it's
the
not
default.
my recently viewed, because I wasn't recently looking at recently viewed. So with the list view behavior in Lightning in Spring 17, we now will automatically be shown whatever list view we were most recently looking at, which I think for your users, that as well as that caret drop down in the Lightning navigation, you're just making it easier for your users to get to the information that they have in Salesforce with all the great apps you've customized and built for them.
Less clicks is good news.
Less clicks is awesome. So when I'm in a list view like contacts, I can also now have access to those mass actions. So if you have users, again, I know we keep mentioning sales users, this is just many different types of users, but users that are using mass actions to, say, add to a campaign, they can now do that from Lightning.
Just within that list view. Pretty amazing.
Exactly. And so it makes it, we've added it to a campaign, we've updated those records and those campaign member records. But what's more is they can edit right from this list view. So we've got, say, a field called type on our contact, and we can edit from here.
So you can do all that without opening the record.
Exactly, without changing screens. So you have access to the inline edit. But what's more is with Kanban Everywhere, your users might edit records a little bit differently.
I want to see the Kanban.
Yeah, so we've never have had Kanban for contacts before. So this is a standard object. You could do this for your custom objects as well. And I have the option now to display as a Kanban. And this is looking at that pick list field. So that means that your users have the ability to use all the tools that are available with Kanban to visualize their data. And when you're using Kanban, you can also define those settings. So I have a new option here under my list view controls for Kanban settings, which means I can define, maybe the group by, or if we're summarizing, things like that.
Really gives you the power to completely customize this amazing Kanban interface for whatever it is you need to do.
Right, and it means that you can roll that out and really tune your users on to that feature so they can use it for different objects that you might have made for them or for different standard objects that they're using really heavily. Now, another feature that you mentioned that I love to show, what did you say? Your favorite feature?
My favorite feature
is our favorites button. So similar to Chatter Streams, this is going to be unique to your end users. So for your individual end users, they can favorite something by just clicking that favorite star.
Star power.
Star power. And if they want to get back to their favorites, so right now I just favorited this list view. And so if they want to get back to their favorites, they have this favorites button here wherever they are in the app. So again, I know a lot of us have a lot of Chrome bookmarks in place.
A lot of us.
Many of us may use bookmarks very heavily. So this is a great feature for those users that have, list views, records, things like that they're toggling to really often in Salesforce, just to make it, again, an end user winner.
Yeah, that's great. Now you mentioned search. Can we see some search magic?
I love search. So I have been using this really heavily in all of the apps that I work in and build in Salesforce. I've already found it to be really effective and really useful. So our search window, if you click on this search window already, you have your recent items, which is of course great for end users. But we also have the ability to define where we're searching now. So if I knew that there was a lead I was looking for, and I wanted to search for that, instead of having to go through the search experience and click on which object, I can actually type lead. And if I zoom in here, I can say, do I want to search lead? Do I want to look for lead on the object that I'm viewing right now, which is contacts? Or do I want to limit my search to the leads object? So I want to limit my search to the leads object, and then I want to search for one of my leads, Amy. Now I do get my suggested results, but I'm going to click enter just for showing you how that looks. So when I search that, I automatically searched leads, and Amy. So it's surfaced the one.
Awesome.
Yeah. But if you're like, oh, I searched the wrong object, you can always just click top results and it'll still give you, maybe results from different objects. Now, another search tool, sometimes we know who we're looking for and we know where they work. So if I knew that I was looking for, say, a contact named Mark, potentially, Mark, I could start to type, and I do get the suggested results here, but if you're working with tons of records or if it's a record you haven't viewed lately, we have Mark, and I'm going to search Salesforce because I happen to know the company that Mark works at.
That's good.
And so that search is looking at that contact name, which is Mark, and also the account name. So again, it's just your end users that work a lot, especially with like contacts and leads, I think will really like this, and it'll help them go about their day much faster.
Well, and it's just like you do search in so many other platforms. So it really, really helps, makes that end user experience so much more intuitive, like they use everything else. Okay, so those are the features that are going to make your end users love you. And now that exact demo, you can get the click path for that right now on admin.salesforce.com. Leanne has been nice enough to share that. Leanne, the most amazing demo master. And what she showed you is what a standard pre-release org looks like. There's 1 or 2 customizations that are really easy, but they're listed right there in the click path. So you can take that back to your end users and give that demo yourself. Pretty awesome. So now the next bucket of features we're going to talk about is features that are going to make you love using Salesforce as an admin. As an admin, we are the most power users of Salesforce, and so there's all the things that we notice that probably our end users will never notice, but there's ways that we can really customize our own admin experience, especially make our users' experience more special. So let's talk about some of those features coming in Spring 17. First off, we're going to talk about the utility bar. Okay, this is super cool because it's another way to help our users directly get to the information and the objects that they need to see right inside of their Salesforce experience.
And everything they need to do, because with utility bar, you're surfacing components in a docked fashion, and we'll see. I'll show you what it looks like. But you think about, especially admins that work with developers a lot. I mean, you're going to have a whole new category of components you can ask your developers to build for you, because there's a lot of standard components that are available that are incredibly useful. But basically, you can define these components and these actions or information or records that are available to your users based on what app they're in, which is huge. You're defining that by business case, not just by user or by record.
Yeah, it's a really powerful tool, and it looks real tiny and small, but it is super powerful.
Very powerful.
So the next thing that's really going to enhance our experience as admins with Spring 17 is Lightning console apps. These are so cool. So we've heard of console before, but this is like super cool level of console, because this now means that we can do console apps for all the things.
Exactly. So this is, if you've worked with Aloha apps or Aloha console in the past, like the Service Console or Sales Console in Salesforce Classic, this is that concept of console I'm sure you're probably familiar with, but this is taking it to a whole new level with Lightning, because you can create custom Lightning consoles you can customize them for sales, for service. We've got those in Spring 17, but you can create a custom console in Lightning for anything. Whatever your end users are doing, even for admins, you could create your own custom console for your admin console. And you can have access to all the power of Lightning with building those pages with components, customizing those record pages for that specific console app, and adding really customized utility bars that are going to help those users be more efficient as they work in that console.
Yeah, and I mean, let's just back up for a second, because console to me was a little bit like, what is a console? I have no idea what it is. I probably don't need it. Console is a way to really bring in all of the important tabs and objects right into one screen for your users, so they don't have to open up separate windows, so they don't have to open up new tabs. Everything they need in their Salesforce app is right there for them. And we can customize that as admins now using this amazing console experience.
Right, exactly. So, earlier we mentioned not having to have Chrome bookmarks anymore. So also you won't have to have that many Chrome tabs anymore. Not that I don't love Chrome tabs, but you won't have to use them as often. Your users won't either, because with console, you can define, just like you would with any Lightning app or Classic app, you can define those objects and tabs that your users are using, right? So if we're building, say, a project management console, we're going to bring in those standard and custom objects that are important, but then when your users are engaging with it, they can keep context on what it is they're viewing with tabs and subtabs. So if I'm working on an account that's got a case and it's got a project and I'm talking to a customer on the phone, but then I've got to do some work on another account or another project, I can just open that up in another tab without losing place in my work.
Yeah, sub-tabs in Salesforce, pretty much. So
Yes,
you don't have
exactly.
to leave that screen. Pretty amazing.
Yes.
Okay, now another thing that's really cool, we saw SalesPath come out about, oh gosh, maybe over a year ago, right? It was a really great thing, a way to really coach your users along the way in a process in Salesforce. But now we have the ability to bring that path experience everywhere to our users. So we can create any process and actually put that in a path experience so that our end users get that coaching along the way to try and help them accomplish whatever they're doing.
Exactly. I mean, Path was similar to Kanban, really well received. It was something that people adopted right away. They felt, sales users especially really responded to it as this visual representation of what should come next and being able to update records in that way. And so with Path, you can create that experience on any object, as Jillian said, and you can bring in that coaching. So if you have business rules, if you have stage rules or suggestions for next steps, whether it's for managing a case or managing a project, whatever that object is, if it's a customer standard, you can add not only that visual representation, which we all like to move further along the path line.
It feels
right?
good to get more green boxes.
It does feel good. You're like, okay, I'm doing good. It's almost fully colored. Yeah. But you also can add those coaching tips and really implement that business process and the knowledge that you have maybe internally in a really visible way to your users.
Really powerful tool as an admin to really customize that experience for your users. Now, lastly, there's a really cool thing called the flow component, which is kind of mind-blowing when you think about it. I'm not going to talk too much about it now because we're just going to see it in action. So, Leanne, let's show the demo for some of these features that we talked about that are going to be these admin features that are going to make our lives so much easier with Spring 17.
Absolutely. So we're in Salesforce Setup, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to create my first Lightning Console app. I'm very excited.
Yay, my first Lightning Console app.
So the first place I'm going to go is App Manager. App Manager is where you can manage all of your classic Lightning and Lightning Console apps. And you'll be able to see in App Manager where those apps came from, if they're visible in Lightning, and also click in and edit those. But I'm creating a brand new one, so I'm going to click New Lightning App. So we're going to call this Project Central. I think I need to add a number there. So this is where also I can define the branding of it.
Oh, so you can customize the color.
I know, and if I had an image ready, I would add an image here.
I think you can even add a GIF, can't you?
You can add a GIF.
What? So you can GIF your apps.
You can GIF your apps. It hopefully has not yet irritated all of my users that all of the apps I've created in the last 6 months are animated. I can't stop using them.
That's one way to get people to pay attention.
It is. It's really easy to find it. But when you have like 4 GIF apps, the app launcher gets a little overwhelming.
GIF in moderation.
GIF in moderation. GIF wisely. Good lessons. So now we're in our app options for app navigation. So in app navigation, that's where we define, do we want it to be a standard navigation? So that's the Lightning apps that you've been working with. So your sales Lightning app, for example, that would be your standard navigation. But the console navigation, which is in beta, so what beta means is that it is available in the Spring 17 orgs. It is something that might continue to change and be updated. So keep in mind, like, the look and feel might change in future releases before it does go GA. So I'm going to make it a console navigation in the utility bar.
Ooh,
so
I
love the utility bar. The options are very endless with utility bar, I think. I'm still almost wrapping my mind around all the things we can do with it. So with utility bar, I'm going to select what are those components I want to be available to my users anywhere they are in this Project Central app. And so some of those might be components that you're going to add to all of your apps, something like Chatter Publisher, right? So that might be something similar to like a global action, if you think about it that way, things that you might want to add in a lot of different places. I also want to add, notes. So I can see, just to highlight, I can see I've got my standard components, and I also would have custom components, installed components available here. I'm also going to add notes. I want people to use notes. It's useful for them. It's useful for me, to be able to quickly open up a little note tool.
Yeah, just while they're doing whatever they're doing.
And now I'm going to start adding some that are really specific to project management, because this utility bar is just going to be in this app. So I'm going to add some really customized ones. So I'm going to add report chart, because I have a great report chart that is, we'll call it my project overview. I have a great report chart that I know my project managers love, and I'm going to make that available here so they can always see that high-level view of all of their projects in chart form.
No matter where they are.
No matter where they are in the project app.
Right.
And I'm going to add another component. I'm going to add our flow component.
Oh, my favorite.
I know, I think it's both of our favorites.
Okay, I guess it's my second favorite because favorites is my first favorite.
Favorites is your first favorite, okay. Is anyone writing how many times we say favorites? So we have our flow component. So I've selected, we're just gonna leave it as called flow, and I can select how big I want it to be. So if you have a flow component that you have a lot of fields on, for example, you can maybe update the view and define how it's gonna be represented. And I'm gonna select my project support flow. Okay, I feel good about that. That's a good utility bar for now. I can always add more later.
So you just added a flow component to the utility bar.
I did just add a flow component to the utility
I
bar.
thought we had to know code in order to know how to use and display flow.
We don't. We can now, it's now a beta standard component type, which means no more having to create like links and buttons and all of those steps to deploy your flow. And this is, I think with utility bar, it makes the flow component even more powerful because you can add it to pages, record pages, home pages, and now you can add it to utility bar too. So
Okay, we're gonna have to learn a little bit more about this. I need to know more, but let's see what else we've got here to show our admins.
So I'm gonna select what tabs I want. So I'm gonna bring in accounts, calendar, of course I have to bring in chatter always, and let's bring in just a couple more. I'm also gonna bring in projects because this is my Project Central app. Let's go ahead and click next. So I've defined my console, I've said what my utility bar should look like, how I want people to engage in it, what actions they should have available to them, also what tabs they should have available. Now I'm going to say who gets to use it. So I'm going to assign by profile to System Admin in Project Manager and save and finish. So let's take a look. I've created it.
Let's go take a look. Let's see it in action.
We've got Project Central in our bright green.
And look at that pretty rainbow.
I love the Spring 17 logo. So when I navigated to Project Central, the first thing I want to call out is I've got this new utility bar that's available.
Yeah.
So when I click on one, these docked items come up. So I've got Chatter Publisher, so if I want to post a question or a poll, I've got my notes, so I can see, not only add new notes, but I can see maybe previous notes that I've been working on. I've got my pretty chart for my project status view.
That is really cool.
Yeah, that's really cool because I didn't actually add a filter on the chart when I was adding it because it's a chart that's based on so whichever project manager is viewing this app will just see the chart reflecting their information. And I've got my nice little flow component here so they can ask for help on projects and maybe they say we've got, need help. We've got a very panicked project manager using exclamation points, and they can go ahead and engage with that flow right from their utility bar.
That is so awesome.
But that's not all.
That's not all. There's more.
That's not all. There's more. So just to navigate you around the console, we have accounts is open already. And if I were to click on accounts, so click on like Acme, it opens a second tab.
And you still have your accounts open on the other tab.
Yeah, and there's more because once I open it, let's say I know I want to open, a record related to that. It opens those sub-tabs. So I've got my opportunity maybe I need to work on. I've got the account that gets opened next to that. I can pin this and, always come back to it. But I can also kind of continue to work on other things. So if you're going to be working with an account or something all day, I can also open other tabs and say, I want to go check the chatter stream and see what's going on, but I don't want to lose my spot.
That is so cool. I'm envisioning all of the separate browser tabs that you're saving by doing this.
So many browser tabs. And so we've created this experience for our project managers, but we want to customize it even more. So in Spring, what we can do is we can do more assignment on having that custom page. So this page right now, we're looking at the account page, and I would say it's a really strong page, but it's pretty customized for sales, right? We've got opportunities. I've got to go all the way to the bottom to find my projects that are related. And it's defaulting to related lists, not to details, whereas maybe my project managers really want to see details first. That's kind of where they're navigating to. So I'm going to edit this page using the Lightning App Builder. So I click into my gear on the top right to edit this page for accounts.
And this is how you're customizing it for that project manager experience.
Exactly. So I'm going to customize this page. So one of the first things I'm going to do is I'm going to set details as my default tab so that's what they get to first. And I'm also going to do something that might make you gasp. I'm going to get rid of that related list as it looks today.
Why do you get rid of that related list?
Because there's a lot of stuff on it. There's a lot on it, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the new component type of related list. So if we look over on the left in our standard components that are available, we have related list and related lists. And so what I can do now is I can pick and choose what are the actual related list objects that I want to be shown on this page, because maybe my project managers don't need to see all of that. Or maybe I want to nest that big related list in a tab, and I want to bubble up that project's related list to kind of front and center.
So you can really filter that for them and customize it for their experience.
Exactly. You can, the same idea for those of you who've worked with page layouts for a long time, thinking about what is the information that type of user needs to get to first. But we're doing that not only for our users, but also by app, because many of us wear lots of hats, and you might be going between, or might have users that are going between working with a case management app and then going to a project management app, or working in a sales environment and then working on cases, and being able to customize the experience based on the business that they're working on versus just on the user that's
so
doing
cool.
it.
So
yeah,
cool.
I think this is a really cool. I love the related list component. So I can, on the related list component, standard component here, I can say I want to use this account to define what related list would be shown. And I can also select, okay, well, I know that I want this to be projects. We're going to bubble that right up there. And we're going to do one more thing to customize this page. We're going to add another tab, because I love adding custom tabs.
We're tabbing all the things.
Tab all the things.
Usually app all the things. Today we're tabbing all the things.
Tabs in App Builder, tabs are such a great way to really control your real estate and make it the look and feel exactly what your end users need, and put information in tabs, maybe tools and things like that, so they don't have to scroll too much.
Clean up the pages.
Exactly. So we'll say Project Insights. Okay, so now I have this new tab, but it's empty. There's nothing in it.
Oh, no.
So I'm going to add another report chart. But for this report chart, I'm going to look at my account project status. So in that report chart, I can define what chart it should be looking at and also what it should filter by. So right now it's just looking at the whole report, but I can select that I want it to be looking at this specific account. And maybe I'll give everyone the option to refresh. That's great. And save. Now, when I activate it, so I've saved the page, but I'm not done yet, because I edited this page for project managers. Mm-hmm. But what about all my other users? My sales users are not going to like it if I took opportunities off their page. So I want to activate this.
They would not be happy.
They would not be happy. So I want to activate this just for this app. And so I can do that when I activate this page and say, this is going to be just for Project Central, and click Next. So I have my overview. Yes, I selected the right one. That's awesome. So now when we go back, we have this really customized experience through components on Utility Bar, through this entire custom console app, and through pages that are specific for project managers in their new app.
That's so cool. I mean, as an admin, that's so much customization that we can do without using a lick of code. All point and click, very, very cool, and that's all with Spring 17. Now again, the demos that we've seen are on admin.salesforce.com. Leanne has been kind enough to share them with you, and you can show them to your users, to your stakeholders, share them to other Salesforce people just by following that click path using a standard pre-release work. But Leanne, you showed me this amazing flow component, and you showed me flow pop up in the utility bar. That is unbelievably amazing. I mean, this is totally demystifying flow. And oh my gosh, check it out. We have Scott Kazinchik, who's a product manager here at Salesforce, and you work on all the automation things. Hey,
Cloudy wanted to come.
Cloudy.
Yeah, he wanted to come.
Cloudy loves Flow also.
Yeah.
We love Cloudy. So your team worked on the flow component. Can you tell us a little bit more about why this is so amazing?
Yeah, so it's super great because in Flow you can combine screens that you purpose build with complex logic that you declaratively define without writing any code. So you can link a series of screens together to give your end users a very specific use case to solve. And then you can drop that right into any of your Lightning pages. For example, you could support them with something like opportunity support. So if they're in an opportunity and they want some help, they can go through a wizard in the Flow component, and that'll answer questions for them. And it's all right there together contextually. It's super powerful.
So one of the things Leanne mentioned is that typically, in order to display visual workflow in the past, it's not so easy, right? You have to use some kind of a special code or do some kind of a workaround. This is a whole new way for admins to really be able to use Flow without having to do that.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, and there's this really cool thing. When you put a Flow component on one of these Lightning pages, you can actually have the Lightning page pass the record ID reference into the Flow component so that you can have the Flow load a bunch of stuff relative to the record you're looking at.
What?
That is awesome.
It's super cool.
That's pretty awesome. So
And it's with a check of a checkbox. It's that easy.
so easy. Okay, so every admin now needs to go look at Flow again. It's a really powerful tool. But while we have you here,
Yes.
since you are in product management,
Yes.
we have a lot of eager people that may need to curious about kind of the future of all the amazing process automation things that you've come out. I mean, Process Builder last year was just a huge game changer for admins.
It was.
So exciting. So we know you have plenty more up your sleeve. Can we like super safe harbor forward-looking statement maybe give us an idea of what might be in store for admins?
Sure. So the two most exciting things I think for our admin community are going to be management of and dealing with errors in process building. So we're going to be revealing them in a very intuitive way in one place, and so it'll help admins troubleshoot and help their end users with the errors they're seeing.
Awesome.
So that's a big one.
Again, super safe harbor forward-looking statement.
Super safe harbor. And this one, next one is the super safe harbor, which is, or forward-looking statement, which is a new flow designer.
Ooh.
Yeah, so we're starting in on that right now, and we don't really have a time to commit to yet, but it's going to be super exciting to have a new flow designer.
So not only will we be able to bring in Flow really easily to our Salesforce experience, but we'll have an even better way to design those flows.
Absolutely.
Very cool. Well, Scott, thank you so much for dropping by, and
Yeah.
thank you for bringing our friend Cloudy.
Of course.
It wouldn't be complete without some mascot action.
It wouldn't, nope.
And Leanne, thank you for so many amazing demos. Again, admin.salesforce.com. All the demos you saw today, you can do yourself. Take them back to your organization, show your end users, show your stakeholders. It's really going to make you look like a truly awesome admin. We are really excited for you to enjoy everything in Spring 17. We hope you love it as much as we do, and we'll catch you next time in the cloud.